I had a bunch of crap going on in my head, and that stuff was coming around. And I'm not serious about it, so I'm kind of letting it go, which, kind of makes it manifest. And, maybe not completely, but, I could feel it and see it around me when I was going through my little paranoid bull crap. And with the full moon and, all the agitation and, I had all kinds. I could not get out of my head. I was creating bullcrap scenarios for no reason at all, and these things were coming around. I mean, that's proof there that we're creating something. And I really believe that. Feel that. That's one of the things we need to learn how to watch our thoughts, control our thoughts. I don't want to say be a Vulcan, but I mean. Because you control them and watch them because you're going to manifest that stuff. And I think it's just going to get easier and easier. So anyway, like I was talking about the whole, I was agitated in timeline, and I'm thinking, hey, maybe we're shifting or whatever it is happening. It was like that. Last night was, same old bull crap. And then this morning, I woke up, and seriously, for me, it was to accept certain things. So, I just started accepting it. I said, what, and I didn't know how to do that yesterday or the day before. I didn't know how to accept. This could be a while. What do you want to talk about? The cleansing and trying to get back to the state of mind I was in when I had all the experiences. I don't think it can be chased. I think you need to do what you need to do to relax yourself. People are people. You're going to be you. And you got to be you, because it's, oh, I'm just babbling now. I did learn something from abstaining from everything. I mean, at once, not to do that. How's that going? That saying, be in the world but not of it. I've had some really interesting thoughts on that. How about recently what's been coming in quite a bit is that we were raptured from another timeline, but we didn't experience that. I mean, I've had some dream states or whatever of stuff like that happening, and I don't dream a lot. I don't remember my dreams, but when I do, or there's something. So, who's to say? I've said this before, got in trouble for it. Who's to say what somebody else is experiencing? Got in trouble. What the heck am I trying to say? I mean, we're taken here to avoid the negative stuff, but even if that's the case, there's still something else going on. What is this, a waiting period? Wait until that stuff's over? I mean, to me, it would be a continuous growth. There is a continuous growth, and maybe we came to a point where it's graduation time. We graduate to the next level. We graduate to the next grade. If you don't graduate, you need to go back to 3D. And if they're destroying everything, you're going back to the Stone Age. That may not have existed in the first place. It exists in the future, maybe, in that timeline. Just thoughts. But if that's the case, why move us here? For what purpose? because, yeah, it's different here. But is it different here? Or are we just being more aware? Are we just noticing, truth as far as physical reality and your perception is malleable? And that you can shift and change it. And that's the other thing I was getting into. When I was experimenting, things, were slow going, but then they started to pick up. And I realized that whole bullet point number 4 was correct thinking. And that, I'm thinking that should be a little higher than 4, because even though it's just the third thing, while I was abstaining and staying off of the computer, and you know what I was doing? When I was staying away from the computer, I was staying away from the Mandela effect. My focus was elsewhere. Even though I would look around and see things and cringe every time I see the yield sign. But my focus wasn't on the Mandela effect and supernatural experiences. My focus was totally, the bar and work and, hitting the hot springs and the vapor caves on my days off and experiencing what was around me. And, a lot of physical drama bullcrap came with that. And as much as that, and then it got stronger and stronger towards the full moon and then died off completely today, the 29th. Nothing to report except that I've been keeping an eye on how much sunlight there is, and there's been more than I'm used to. I mean, granted, it's summer, but 10 o'clock last night it was really cloudy. At 9:30 it was real cloudy, and I could still see the sun peering out through those clouds. I mean, not peering out, it was very hazy. It's very hazy around here because of the fires. So, I'm still having problems with the audio, so I don't know if this is coming through or not. I just got off of an interview with Unbiased and On the Fence. And the one thing we didn't get into was talking about creating. And that's a subject we probably should have gotten into. Because my thing is, I really feel like I'm creating individually. I've tested it, and I got to get out of my head, go with my heart, with my desire, and let it go. I mean, and not let it go, accept what is, and then you shift into what you'd rather have it be. This is what I've noticed that I'm doing. Am I confident that I'm doing it? Kind of, but not completely. I'm confident because even when I can't get out of my head and the negative thing, I'm creating the negative things as well. And I'll say, oh, I failed. Well, I didn't fail. I just didn't get out of my head. It's the belief here and then the feeling and the acceptance. And it's not a formula. You just do it. I mean, yeah, you could say, okay, I'm changing this circumstance. You're not changing the circumstance. You're changing yourself, putting yourself into a position where that circumstance is different. Layman terms is, I'm changing this. I'm going to change the weather for tomorrow. You're not. You're shifting your consciousness into a timeline where the weather doesn't affect you the way it was announced it would affect you. My big thing here is I feel like I'm doing it individually. I feel I am. I strongly believe I am. I feel I am. And
I don't see a lot of people doing that. I see some people agreeing with me that you can. But there is a group. I mean, there's so many Mandela affected people that, to me, we're supposed to be doing this as a collective. But you got to learn how to do it individually first. And it's not even a learning, it's a knowing. It's not going to school and learning how to figure out an equation. You don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to make anything happen. You don't have to fix anything. That was my biggest problem. I wanted to fix everything. No, you don't fix it, you accept it. You don't take a formula and figure anything out. You know, that's what they taught us in first grade. Here's this, figure it out, figure it out, figure it out, instead of just let it be, let it happen, and create it. You know, that's right from, you know, we were indoctrinated into this physical reality, whether it was by ourselves, that we did it to ourselves, or if it was we were trapped or whatever, because I'm sure there's more than one scenario when it comes to that. I'm sure a lot of us put ourselves here. I'm sure a lot of us were trapped, tricked, whatever. But I think to experience true happiness and bliss and physical reality the way we were supposed to experience it, we need to create as a collective. You know, I'm doing it individually, and I still see things going on around me that are negative, or at least negative for me, and I can even see where they're positive for them people. Oh, that's happening to him. I remember when I went through that. You know, they're learning, they're growing. But the creating thing, I think we need to do it collectively, and I'm still learning individually, you know.
Never going to get that. I love that. You said that some people think that God...
Yeah, some people, one version of the simulation theory is that God is the artificial super intelligence that is essentially running the simulation, and we're just in it. And
cool.
That's...
Yeah, my phone is totally out of commission. Again. I think I talked to somebody 3 days ago. And I've been trying to charge it and everything, and I'm not worried about it. I don't care. But because of the business, you know, there's things I need to be getting on the phone for.
All of a sudden, it's the morning of the service. I get up, I'm fixing to put my socks on. I hear her laughing in the room. I turn to see, and there, out of a little rift, sticks her hand, and in between her thumb and finger like this is a burning orb, a little sun. This is your wife after she passed? Yeah, 3 days later. She's laughing, and I said, what's that? Well, she just created a sun.
Oh, she created a sun.
Yeah, I said, what do you mean? Well, she's in creation school, he said. Creation school, recreation of, they say there's suns happening at the speed of light out there. So someone's creating them.
So there's activity going on there too, wherever she passed to.
Well, yeah. I mean, I believe that when we leave here, we're part of a new creative movement. We're not creating much here but chaos. But out there, I believe you'll have the wherewithal to create your own planets or your own whatever.
Interesting.
A universe, if you wish.
I like that.
Yeah, well, that's my concept.
That's kind of interesting.
That's what. And he kind of showed it to me. I'm not big on pushing any kind of religion on anyone. I'm not down even for the Christian church. But I do believe that there's a God. Period.
We've witnessed something, right?
Yeah. There's an intelligence beyond my own. And it's a damn good thing. If it was just down to us, we'd be in trouble.
that the moon is a sphere, the sun is a sphere, all the other planets are spheres, but we're not?
I thought it was flat. Wasn't the Earth flat?
Oh.
He's a flat earther.
No, he's not a flat earther. He's a I don't know him.
Oh, I don't know.
The haze is from the fires. It's a sunset.
I think about that a lot. Michelle.
Your parents were going to name you Michelle, so you figure in a multiverse.
She's out there. There's an infinite number of Michelles, just like there's an infinite number of Jennings.
And this gentleman asked me if my parents would have named me a girl. What was your question? How did you ask
If you were
that?
born a female, what would your parents have named you?
Oh. And I came up with Samantha like that, and I don't get that or why. And I explained to him that I do have memories of me as a female talking with my father and my mother, but I did not have brother and sister, and I was like in my teens. So, and I'm like, I've had that memory prior to knowing about the Mandela effect. And now when he brought that up, I'm like, well, the revised edition of the book should be good. TV show with the 4 girls running around New York City. What's it called?
Girls.
Girls. How about Sex something?
Oh, Sex in the City.
What's the first word?
Sex in the City.
What's the second word?
In the city.
In? Okay.
In.
And what island is the Statue of Liberty on?
Oh shit! I don't know the names of
Ellis
that.
Island.
Ellis Island. A lot of people, most people remember Ellis Island.
Isn't that Ellis Island?
I don't think it's on Ellis Island. I think it's on its own island.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's on the way to Ellis Island.
Could you be having one of those dual memories? Because it's now on Liberty Island,
Yeah.
which for me never existed.
I just remember going to
Yeah.
Ellis Island. And, yeah, it's on a different island. You're
Yeah,
right.
it's a different.
I remember it being on Ellis. A lot of people remember. Some people remember it being on Governor's Island. But that's the Mandela effect, and I'm gonna have to. There's a clip coming up, probably the next clip, but I don't know. You're going to hear a lot of birds. Try and listen. You're going to have to turn it up probably, and then halfway through that video, I shut the birds off. The sound gets better. But I think I made a good point. I think I made my point, and it's about paying attention to things that aren't within your physical perception. If you're paying attention to things that aren't within your physical perception, it's not real. Yes, those things may really be happening to those people, and they're probably not. They're probably happening for you to know not to worry about that stuff. I don't think those things are actually consciously happening to those people. I think they're off in another timeline. I need to be careful because you know what happens when we disagree with people in the Mandela effect community. All of a sudden, nobody listens to you and stuff and whatever. Some fear mongering going out there. I don't care what you want to call it. I like this person that puts that stuff out. They put out good Mandela effect information out. Now I'm noticing, and it could be that I shifted. It's
a matter of fact, I'm quite sure, because I'm noticing changes of other people more than myself, or items, or things. It's people themselves. And, I'm shifting my consciousness into that. Things still don't seem right. Yellow signs are still red. But I really seriously disagree with see, this is tough, and this is even tough for me, but I'm sticking to it, because this just makes sense to me. It's like, oh, that's so mean, and you're not really paying attention. I'll bet you're not getting any of this. I've been checking videos where there's like no sound at all. I wonder if you guys will pick any of this up now. But you seem to get the birds, but not my voice. Don't understand why you would put out fear. Okay, there are people in another country that are being tortured and killed. Okay, you know what? I don't know that. I don't watch the news. I didn't watch any of that anywhere. I don't know. I made that up, but I'm sure that's a story that's being talked about. There ain't a damn thing you can do about it. And if you think you can, then do something about it. Stop whining about it. Stop telling everybody else about it, unless, of course, you think you know somebody that can do something about it or stop it or whatever. First off, number one, this stuff ain't happening. It's to create anguish. They want you to be upset. They want you to fear. This stuff isn't really happening. And if you're watching it on YouTube, it's not really happening. If you're watching it on the television or videos, it's not really happening. They're making it up. What you're watching now, it's not really happening. It's not. Okay, you watching me right now, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm talking to you about, it's not really happening. This is just something your vision is taking in. Your mind is taking that in. And then whatever I say gives you joy or pain or fear or some sort of emotion, because this is not real. You watching me on YouTube is not real. All right. What is real is the emotions and experience behind what you're watching and taking in. The emotions are real. You feel those, and then you're like, oh, this story I've heard, yeah, all these kids are trapped in a mine, oh my God. That didn't happen. It's not real. It's not true, okay? You're watching on TV, that's your emotions are what's real. So now you're putting that, and I hated using a real example because I'm such a mean person now for not caring about these children. Of course I do, whatever. There's nothing I can do about it. I think you were chasing smoke there, brother. What you're doing is building up these emotions, which are real, and then you're creating that emotion. And then you wonder why you're having problems with your child or your spouse, or other things. Because that emotion you're sending out. And then you're taking this fake stuff because it's fake. If it's not happening in your physical reality, it's fake. It's not real. If it's happening to other people, it's happening to their physical reality. It's not happening to yours. But it doesn't matter because you're taking this in, you're taking in the emotion, and you're letting the emotion out. And then your world's screwed up. And you're walking around going, oh, this world sucks. And then you build on that, and then there's momentum going. Okay? If you're posting negative stuff, if you're talking about things that are happening on the other side of the world, look, if it's happening across the street, get out and go do something about it if you're not happy about it. I do like the birds, but I'm not sure you're going to be able to hear me. I hope I don't have to go through all that again. That was pretty damn emotional. And I'm starting to understand this whole headphone microphone thing. And without the birds, I bet that helps. No matter, put it over here, it comes towards me. Put it over here, it comes towards me. Okay. That's just on the micro scale for you, for your life. How are we going to create as a collective if you can't do it to your own life? If you can't get away from the negativity from your own life? They're going to get it. Those things aren't even happening to those people on a quantum scale. It's not even happening to their consciousness. That's there for you. That's there for you to learn to stop worrying about it. Stop with the negativity. Stop watching this stuff. I know it's hard. Try it for a week. I challenge everyone to not watch any kind of news for a week. It's along the same lines of trying not to eat meat or trying not to have any sugar. It's not easy. You don't even know you're doing it. Be more conscious of the physical things happening around you. If you help one person next door physically, you're making the world a better place. The world is a better place for that episode, that circumstance. Instead, if you sit around on your watching TV and worry about what's going on everywhere else, you're bringing that negativity right to you. Well, it's good to be informed. No, it's not. You don't need to be informed. You need to be informed about what's going on in your area, maybe. I know things are bad other places. That's because those people are making it. That they're creating that. Okay? And I'm pretty sure they're not even creating it. I'm pretty sure it's just something you've created. I keep saying you, I mean me. Okay? I'm not pinpointing one specific person because there's a couple of them that I see, that I like, that I listen to, that I talk to, that I consider friends. Just not doing it. I mean, I don't know. But I've definitely shifted recently, and this shift is people. People are different, myself included. I mean, I was working on being different. I was working on that shift to be able to witness, watch instead of interacting. Okay, letting things happen around me, and they work out. Not to fight anything, not to try and fix anything, just let it happen. I don't have to figure anything out. I just sit back and this is what I desire, but I accept what it is, and it goes away. Accepting's got to be the hardest part. They were real birds from outside. I've also had this thought, and I've had quite a few thoughts, and I think I'm going to just make a fictional story on this one. I'm going to create a fictional story and have it published. Maybe a bunch of short stories, because this one, could be, it's not going to be a novel. But what if we were placed here to see how would we react if we actually lived in a universe with billions of stars, billions of other lives interacting with each other, and we were placed here to see how we would interact with that idea. But the first step would be to get along with each other. We're not doing too well, right? So we need to shift out of that. That's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm doing it. I see it around me. It's, am I creating? Well, it's not you creating. It's just a coincidence. No, it's me creating. It's me creating, whether it's simply getting up, walking up to do something, whatever it is. I'm creating, and I believe I'm successful. And anytime I fail, I'm not failing, I'm still creating because of the negative thoughts that are going through my head. And I came across this because this is the pattern thing coming up. I can feel the negative thoughts coming in, and it's so much easier to fight them off and to laugh at them. they're gone. It happened this morning, and I expect it to happen every morning I wake up. I don't even care. I'm getting rid of them. I just put a smile on my face. I start laughing. I say, "Ooh, this isn't me." There's negative thoughts are starting to come in now. Today is July 8th. I don't see a full moon coming until like the 27th, I think. No chemtrails now. See, this is the time where we've just come out of a shift and everything's great. Everybody's in a good mood. And it just started to take a downward spiral. Not for me. I'm seeing it happen to other people. And I'm like, well, this happened to me before. But they don't know that. They don't see this pattern. They don't see this. They're still, let's pay the bills and pick up the kids at school. That's where their focus is. And that's okay. But what if we're here and there is universes out there, multiverses out there. There are other things to experience. There are other physical realms to experience. What if? You know, have we been put here not to destroy all that? If we were put here. If we were put here, I feel we probably put ourselves here in some form, some way, to learn, to grow, to see if we could do this. But I like the idea of it. It was just the thought. I don't know if that's what it is, but that's interesting. I had quite a few little thoughts come in like that. I jot them down real quick, and I think I might just do a bunch of short stories. Different things that could be going on.